Welcome to a deep dive. Today we're taking this stack of recent news excerpts, all from the BBC, covering entertainment and arts. You shared these with us, and we're going to dive right in.
Sounds good.
Our goal here is, well, to try and cut through the noise a bit, find the interesting bits, connect some dots across, film, TV, music, books. Even a bit of history popped up.
Exactly. It's like getting a snapshot.
Yeah, a shortcut maybe, to get a feel for the cultural temperature based on just a few days of headlines and features.
Right. And not just what happened, but maybe glimpse why it matters or what it tells us about, the bigger picture in arts and culture right now, highlighting the key stuff, the trends maybe.
Okay, let's unpack it then. One thing that comes through is departures, some significant goodbyes. We've got Gary Lineker's final match of the day. The report mentions he left after apologizing for sharing an anti-Semitic post.
Yeah, that was quite prominent. And sticking with the BBC, there's also the sad news about Alan Yentob passing away at 78.
A huge figure. The sources call him a creative giant, someone who really helped shape the modern BBC.
Absolutely. Decades of work. And he wasn't just behind the scenes, was he? He interviewed so many major cultural figures.
That's what struck me from these pieces, like the one titled BBC TV's Creative Giant on screen and off. His role in bringing arts to the screen seems, well, immense, a real legacy there.
It really does. He defined arts coverage for a lot of people for a long time. Definitely marks the end of an era in, well, British broadcasting.
Right. Okay, shifting gears a bit, let's look at film and TV. A real mix here, big successes, things to look forward to.
Box office highs, definitely.
Mhm.
The sources point to Disney's Lilo and Stitch remake and the latest Mission. Impossible is like two of the year's biggest films.
And the interesting bit there, the detail they pull out, is that Lilo and Stitch beat Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Meaning it beat Mission Impossible. That specific framing.
Yeah, it's kind of telling, isn't it?
It really is. It sums up this, animation and family film winning out against a massive action movie with arguably the biggest star on the planet.
Yeah.
Says something about what audiences are going for right now.
Definitely unexpected, or maybe not so unexpected these days. And looking ahead, the sources mention big TV finales this week, Doctor Who and The Last of Us.
Yeah, that tracks. These big series, they're huge cultural events now, aren't
Yeah.
they? Their finales get talked about like movie openings. The sources are definitely keeping tabs on that impact.
For sure. And speaking of big moments, awards season pops up in these clips too. The Oscars were back in early March. Usual glitz, parties. But here's a really interesting one. Director Baker, noted as the first person ever to win 4 Oscars for one film, Anora. 4, including Best Director.
Wow, 4 for one film. That's actually incredible. I mean, it really makes you stop and think. Suggest Anora must have been seen by the Academy as just, well, exceptional across the board.
Yeah, a proper sweep. And before the Oscars, back in mid-Feb, the BAFTAs, the sources say Conclave, The Papal Drama, and The Brutalist, The Immigration Story, were the big winners there.
It seems like the British awards leaned into those maybe weightier dramas this year.
Could be. And the sources also flag Warwick Davis getting the BAFTA fellowship. Highest honor. His reaction, quoted as, "I didn't believe it," is quite touching, actually.
Yeah, it brings that high-level award right down to a very human, very relatable moment, doesn't it? Nice touch.
It really does. Away from the awards sparkle, there's this news about an Elden Ring film adaptation.
Ah, yes.
And apparently it's dividing fans. Opinions from awesome to meh.
Well, that's hardly surprising, is it? Adapting massive, beloved games like Elden Ring.
It's always tricky. Fans are so invested.
Yeah, the source material is just so dense.
Exactly. And everyone has their own idea of how it should be done. So a split reaction is almost like the default setting for these announcements. High stakes from the get-go. Feels like it. And one more here. Crossing into real-life crime. The gang involved in the Kim Kardashian jewelry heist in Paris. Found guilty, got jail time, millions stolen.
Right. A stark reminder that the celebrity world can intersect with some pretty serious, real-world events.
Okay, let's switch over to music. Radio 1's big weekend in Liverpool gets a mention, dubbed Scouse Coachella.
Scouse Coachella, I like that. Captures the vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
Linking it to Liverpool and that big festival feel.
Yeah. And the report mentions 5 key takeaways from the event, according to people there. We don't have the details of the 5, but it suggests the coverage focused on, standout moments or trends.
And Mumford & Sons closing it out tells you something about the scale, the kind of acts they had.
Right, and there's a nice personal angle, too, about singer Miles Smith. He's quoted reflecting on his meteoric year since playing there last May. Says, "It's wild. playing for a home crowd.
That's great. It adds that human element, doesn't it? Shows how these huge festivals can be like real turning points for artists, grounds the big headlines.
Yeah, exactly. Other artist news, Charlie XCX won Songwriter of the Year, gave a self-deprecating speech apparently, joking about her genius and saying she's hardly Bob Dylan.
Huh. Gotta appreciate the honesty there.
Definitely. U2 got a Lifetime Award, and there was an exclusive interview mention where they talked about wanting to make the sound of the future. And their first album since, 2017?
Yeah, Songs of Innocence was 2017, so quite a gap. Suggests they've been thinking carefully about their next move, evolving their sound.
Seems like it. And then there's Kneecap, the Irish-language hip-hop trio, described as defiant at their first big gig after a terror charge, playing their biggest festival slot in London.
That word defiant. It's loaded, isn't it? Suggests the performance itself had a lot of weight, a lot of context beyond just the songs being played.
Yeah, sounds like a powerful moment. On a different note, sad news about Billy Joel. Canceling his tour. Diagnosed with a rare brain condition, doctors told him to stop performing for now.
That's tough. You hear these stories, unfortunately. Health issues impacting artists, especially those with long careers. A difficult reality.
It is. And just quickly, the sources also mentioned K-pop group 17 have a new album out this week.
Right. A reminder of K-pop's constant presence and global reach. Still huge.
Definitely. Okay, moving beyond music and screen. Let's touch on literature, other cultural bits from these sources. Salman Rushdie, reported as being pleased with the maximum sentence for his attacker, hopes the man reflects upon his deeds in jail.
A difficult but necessary update, really, focusing on his reaction to the legal conclusion of that horrific event.
Yeah. Also, actress and writer Ruth Jones got a drama award at the Hay Festival for her new book. She was there speaking about her novel, too.
Hay Festival. Highlights that link between writing, performing, literary events.
Yeah.
It's all quite connected.
It is. And then there was that brief mention of a geopolitical thing, Iran summoning the French envoy.
Yes. Over remarks made at Cannes described as insulting. Iranian officials called it blatant interference.
Right. And just to be clear, as always with anything politically sensitive like this, we're just relaying what the source reported happened. No commentary, no taking sides.
Exactly. Just reporting the reported event and the stated reactions.
Okay. And finally, this was unexpected but fascinating. A historical note. Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay.
Everest.
Yeah. The first to conquer the death zone. Sharing their victory, that feeling of elation and relief with the BBC back then.
What a great piece to include. It's this amazing historical counterpoint, isn't it? Connects this massive human achievement from decades ago directly to the BBC, the source of all this current news we're discussing.
It really shows the BBC's long history, chronicling everything from Everest's summit to, well, today's festivals and film awards.
So if you try and, weave all these threads together,
yeah,
these farewells, the box office surprises, the award wins, the festival buzz, health scares, legal outcomes, even that Everest flashback.
Yeah.
What picture does it paint?
It feels like, a snapshot of constant motion, maybe. Culture, dealing with loss, but also celebrating new stuff, facing challenges, but also having these big public triumphs.
Yeah, I think so. It shows the dynamism, the energy, but also the vulnerability, vulnerability to real world stuff, health, time passing. And it reflects how widely the media, like the BBC here, casts its net to cover it all.
Absolutely.
Which sort of leads to a question for you, the listener, really. When you absorb all this news, record-breaking films 1 minute, poignant farewells the next, geopolitical ripples touching Cannes, how does that constant flow shape your experience of arts and culture? And what role do places like the BBC play in, curating that picture for us?
Yeah.
Bringing us everything from, Everest history to K-pop releases, all in the same feed almost.
That's a great question, something to definitely chew on. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into these BBC entertainment arts snippets. We've gone from, the top of Everest through history to today's red carpets, festival fields, and faced some of the complexities of public life and creativity along the way.
Thanks for sharing this with us, and thanks for joining the deep dive.